Hello everyone, welcome to my channel where we talk about everything geeky relating to comic books, movies, superheroes, and whatnot. I'm your host, my name is Bruce Lira, nice to meet you. So, Justice League is around the corner. It's going to be premiering on HBO Max. The Snyder Cut is coming out soon. So in honor of that, and not to mention in honor of me being a huge DC fan, I decided to take a look back at some of the previous Zack Snyder films. Just recently, I've been watching Man of Steel, which is our topic today. Cue the intro. Man of Steel, it has been a very controversial film. It has been since it first came out. There's like literally a divided, I guess, legion of fanboys and fangirls. On the one side, people love it. The other side, people absolutely despise it. So I am going to, of course, take my own personal experiences and also give my insights and my thoughts on what I personally thought of the film. To start things off, let's talk about my personal experiences with building up to the film. So prior to 2013 on IMDb, this image kept popping up. That's the only image that we had for a while of Henry Cavill's Superman. That image got me stoked, and it made me think, okay, what's coming out? We haven't had a Superman film since Superman Returns, which came out in 2006. And I liked it as a kid. As an adult, it's pretty boring. But nevertheless, I was happy to have a Superman film. Granted, at that time, I had had my fair share of Batman films. I was all Batmaned out. We just had the Dark Knight trilogy. Dark Knight Returns was already done and over with, and Superman's Henry Cavill, was coming out soon. And not only that, there was a potential possibility that this was going to be an extension of a much larger DC universe, which is what I was hoping for. I really wanted this to be that. The live-action DC universe film was something, heck, a live-action DC universe in general was something that I thought could only be made through either the DC animated movies or the video games, or one of the TV shows. But never would I think that we actually would have a live-action DC universe. It wasn't until 2012 when, of course, the Avengers came out. And, of course, that exceeded all expectations. Who'd have thought that a shared Marvel universe would kickstart an even giant universe which would go on to make millions and billions of dollars worldwide domestically? And it's still a big hit till this very day. Needless to say, I was excited and I was looking forward to Man of Steel. The date came nearer and nearer, and finally, summer of 2013 came along. I was out of school, I was, hanging out at my place, and I went to go see the film, finally. Let's just say that my first viewing of Man of Steel wasn't very good. I remember seeing this film in IMAX. So, yeah, that was a pretty cool viewing experience. However, the overall viewing experience for me was meh. As a rule, for me personally, whenever I go out to movie theaters, of course, when you have a lot of soda or you have a huge icy like I do. I love ices. I have a thing of popcorn next to me. And naturally, in the middle of the film, I always have to go to the bathroom. I'm sure as everyone does, right? So I always hold it in because I don't want to miss a thing, even post-credit scene. That's a rule of thumb for me. If it's Marvel or DC, and if there's a post-credit scene, I have to still be there. I have refused to go to the bathroom, even like during the middle of the film. I can't. I have to hold it in because I want to see the post-credit scenes. I want to see what happens. I want to see the plot points, the whole 9 yards. You get where I'm going with this. This movie, when I first saw it, it kind of bored me. I just was not invested in this film, and I broke my own rule. I went to the bathroom. For some of you guys, you might be saying, well, okay, dude, you got to go to the bathroom. You got to go. You know, it doesn't matter. When you are a hardcore comic book geek, when you live your life trying to view all the comic book movies in general, all the big ones that are coming out, all the heavy hitters from Marvel and DC, you want to stay throughout the whole entirety of the film. You want to be invested in this world. This film did not get me invested at all. I was not sold on the world that it was trying to build. I was not sold on the characters. I was not sold on the story. I was not sold on anything. And as a result, in the middle of when Superman and General Swansea were trying to figure out how they were going to stop General Zod with the Phantom Drive, I got up and I went to the bathroom. I did not care for this movie at all, and when I got out, I was like, this was okay. I just was not sold on this movie. It just did nothing for me, period. So that whole summer, I went on, and of course, Man of Steel definitely was not my favorite movie of that summer. My favorite, of course, was Pacific Rim. Pacific Rim, to me, blew Man of Steel out of the water. Pacific Rim was amazing. It was enjoyable. Had some pretty good characters, and of course, the one thing that we all came for. We all came for the mecha fights. We came for the kaijus versus the Jaegers. We came for the interdimensional planetary alien mabobbers. We came for all that stuff. And sure enough, it delivered. And, I was heavily satisfied. So going off, and of course, I eventually got the film on Blu-ray. And the second time that I saw it, it immediately got worse. And I was convinced that I did not like this movie. I hated this film. I just did not like this movie at all. I don't know what it was. I guess just because it wasn't the traditional Superman that I was used to. The truth, justice, and the American way. The Superman that we've gotten for many years from Christopher Reeve and Superman the Animated Series and Justice League and so forth. It just wasn't the traditional Superman that I was used to. It wasn't the traditional Superman from Christopher Reeve, or even before that with, I believe, George Newbern. I think that was his name, the actor who played Superman in the 50s, or Superman the Animated Series. You want to go a bit further, or Justice League. This just wasn't my Superman, basically. So as time went on, my opinion of the film generally got lower and lower and lower and lower and lower. And I just did not care. It wasn't until the build-up for Batman vs. Superman, which kind of made me, if not care, it made me become intrigued. I only saw Man of Steel twice. I saw it one time in the theater and the second time on Blu-ray. That was it. I wanted nothing more to do with the film. I did not care. It wasn't until Batman vs. Superman came out with the persuasion of my best friend, thank you, Sean. It wasn't until that came out that, of course, that's really what changed my whole viewing on the Superman film in general. I decided to take out of context, the third time that I watched it, I decided, okay, let's remove all the bare bones of Superman. Let's take out his comic book origins. Let's take out his powers. Let's take out everything, and let's see what interpretation this is trying to be. And on the third viewing, it got better. I suddenly realized that this is the most humanized version of Superman that we could ever get. This film really did blow my mind, when I saw it again. So, to put it basic, let's go over basically the synopsis of the film. We start off on Krypton, right? Krypton is a dying alien world who's exhausted all their natural resources. Henceforth, the core of the planet is about to explode. Jor-El, predicting this, tries to convince the leading high councils of Krypton that the planet is dying and it is going to explode. Meanwhile, a revolt led by General Zod is uprising. General Zod, of course, kills one of the Supreme Leaders. And Jor-El, being the scientist that he is, he tries to save his son. He builds a rocket to send his son safely to Earth, where he will be raised by humans, in hopes that Superman would be the bridge between humanity and Kryptonians. Superman then grows up. He lives a life, filled with, of course, bullying and, basically taking everybody's crap. But of course, he's also lived a life of humility taught to him by his parents. His parents, of course, who were farmers, who taught him to hold back his powers. And all the while he's learning these things, while he's learning where he's from, General Zod returns and, of course, tries to terraform the Earth, making it more Kryptonian, meanwhile wiping out all of humanity as we know it. And it's up to Superman to, of course, stop him and save the day. Let me get this out of the way. Henry Cavill is a great Superman. I love Henry Cavill's portrayal of Superman. Like I said before, this is the most humanized version of Superman that we've ever seen. We haven't seen a Superman this human. We haven't seen a Superman this like bare bones. We haven't seen like a version of this Superman. I don't really think we've ever seen this type of Superman. But Henry Cavill is Superman. He not only looks the part, he acts the part. And of course, yes, he does make mistakes along the way. But of course, this is a stepping stone for his character. General Zod, played by Michael Shannon. General Zod is a really good villain. And the thing that I like about him is that he truly doesn't believe that he's a bad guy. Even though he has no lack of sympathy for humanity whatsoever, he's simply doing this because he feels like this is the best for his people. Even though his people is long gone and he can't see past that. He is so bent on recreating Krypton in his own image and, of course, sealing the lives of many Kryptonians. He's the type of guy that, as many bad things and terrible things that I'm sure he has done, you want to see him be stopped by Superman, ultimately. All the other supporting characters were pretty good. Diane Lane as Martha Kent. You have Russell Crowe as Jor-El. You have Harry Lennox as General Swansea. And you have Christopher Maloney, or if you know him as from NCIS or wherever, as Colonel Nathan Hardy. And of course you have Kevin Costner as Jonathan Kent and Lawrence Fishburne as Perry White. Lawrence Fishburne knocked it out of the park as Perry White. Lawrence Fishburne did a fantastic job as Perry White. He definitely captured the spirit of the character. Even though he didn't say, "Great Caesar's ghost," or anything like that. But he's still the stern, take no crap from anyone type of boss that you want to see. That's Perry. That's what Perry's supposed to be. And he's definitely that boss. He's the boss that... he's the boss that you generally wouldn't mind working for, even though he is a pretty tough cookie. But that's the point. That's kind of the point of Perry White. All the other Kryptonians, the one that stuck out to me the most was Anchi Trout, I believe that's her name, as Feora. Feora was awesome. Feora was holy moly. Feora was she was just cool. She did the martial arts moves. She took down Superman. A good death is its own reward. Probably the best line in the whole movie. But yeah, the one character that just didn't really work for me personally was Amy Adams as Lois Lane. Now I know that Lois Lane, of course, is supposed to be this reporter who's always willing to do whatever it takes to get the story, even if it means putting her own self in danger. She always goes after that story. She's tough. She knows how to fight back. She's great with words. She's quick-witted. Whenever you say something back, she'll say it right back to you. That's Lois Lane. That's how she was in the comics. That's how she was in Superman the Animated Series. And Superman the Animated Series, I feel like, has the best Lois Lane to date. I could be wrong. You guys might like New Adventures of Superman, or guys might like her from Smallville. That's really up to you. But I really do believe that Superman the Animated Series really locked down her character right. Amy Adams, for what she's trying to be, it certainly is somewhat very Lois Lane, but there's not much to her character. There really isn't. Superman and Lois Lane have no chemistry whatsoever. You know, people have said that before. I've said that. I don't get Lois Lane. I don't get why she was in this movie. Heck, even later on, when Feora comes up and she's trying to get Kal-El because they're doing negotiations, you know, they get Kal-El, they leave Earth alone. But why did she ask Lois Lane to come with them? And I get that this was probably some kind of big plot point for her to get the codex so that way she can insert it into the ship, she can escape, she can help Superman break out, blah, 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 blah. But other than that, Lois did not need to be there. Heck, Lois did not really need to be in this movie. And they try to make it seem like she has like this much bigger part than we know, but just why? It just didn't work for me. I didn't get it. Like, Lois Lane just did not work for me personally. The directing of this film, I think, is pretty top notch. You know, it's definitely feels a lot like a Nolan film, which makes sense because Christopher Nolan was brought on to help with the Man of Steel project. So it definitely does feel like a Nolan film. There's a lot of great lighting. There's a lot of great bright spots, which I really do like, you know. There's just a lot of great things. You know, the CGI is not a complete mess. Later on in the films, yes, it would become a complete mess, but we're going to talk about that later. But the CGI is very top notch. I'm surprised, you know. I was very surprised looking back at it for all these years that the CGI still holds up. It looks very good, especially the scenes where Superman is trying to stop the World Engine and those like claws are coming at him and they're trying to surround him. It looks good. It looks very, very good. That surprised me. You know, so the directing is good. The art department's very good. Overall, everybody just did a good job. You know, there was not a bad actor in the film. Even Amy Adams, even as her portrayal as Lois Lane, you know, even though I didn't like it, even though it came off as very bland, it was still not necessarily a bad performance. There was not a single bad actor in this movie. There was one silly moment, which I will talk about later, but other than that, there was just not a bad actor in this film. Everybody did a really good job. Now, there is one thing that I will note, and that is there is way too much shaky cam. You know, it's not as bad as Batman Begins, where you literally cannot tell what was going on. Do you guys remember in Batman Begins, where Batman is fighting all those Ra's al Ghul's like ninjas or whatever, and then all of a sudden, like it cuts to Batman fighting, but it's so up close to like his chest or like his fist, you literally cannot see what's going on. But the thing is with this, while yes, you can clearly see what's going on, there's still like way too much of this. You know, there is way too much of that, and it's just like, whoa, you know, take a step back. What is going on? So that is one thing that I will critique the film about, is there's way too much shaky cam. There was way too much when I saw it in the theaters. There's definitely way too much now that I have it on Blu-ray. So that's my minor complaint, is that there is way too much shaky cam. So yeah. The choreography, this is one up that I have to give it. The fight choreography is amazing. Particularly for everyone's favorite scene, the Battle of Smallville. The Battle of Smallville was fantastic. Seriously, everything else too, even from General Zod fighting Superman, was great. The fight choreography was awesome. You know, it reminded me a lot of Dragon Ball Z. If Warner Brothers somehow got the rights to a live-action Dragon Ball Z film, and if they brought on either the same choreographers, or if they did the same thing and took Man of Steel's basic fight choreography as a template and expanded upon that, that film will be awesome. Much better than this. Yeah, enough said. We are actually seeing Superman actually fight. He's not pushing buildings out of the way. He's not saving a cat out of the tree. We are actually seeing Superman fight for the first time in live action. This is something that we've only seen in cartoons. We've seen it plenty of times in Superman the Animated Series. We've seen it plenty of times in Justice League. We've seen it plenty of times in the DC animated films, from either Superman Batman Public Enemies or Superman Batman Apocalypse. We've seen Superman fight plenty of times, but never to this length in live action. That's what really impresses me, is that this is something that I will have to commend Zack Snyder for. He gave us a Superman that not only we've ever seen before, but a Superman that actually, Superman film, I should say, that actually shows him, you know, really fighting it out, duking it out with someone of his kind. And that is really impressive, if you ask me. Now let's get something out of the way really quick. People have complained about Henry Cavill's Superman. People have complained about Ben Affleck's Batman. This is a great Superman. Is he better than Christopher Reeve? You could argue. I would say that, I would almost say that he is. And I know that's a bold statement coming from a comic book fan, but I would say that he is. Keep in mind, this Superman was raised by humans who don't always have the answers. You know, there's a great scene where Jonathan Kent is talking to young Clark. And Clark was saying, you know, what was I supposed to do? Just let him die? Now, a lot of people have lost their minds when he said maybe. You know, he didn't actually mean yes, they should die. He just did not know what to do. Keep in mind, his parents were so paranoid of losing their son, their only son. Clark was their only son and their only chance to know if they're alone in the universe or not. That was their answer. You know, they didn't know what to do. They knew the consequences if he was exposed to the world. That's been implied many times over the film, was that they were scared so much of losing their son. And they were scared of what they were going to do to him. You know, even Jor-El knew that the world would reject him. His mother knew that they would reject him. You know, but still, this Superman is the most humanized version of Superman. People have complained about the collateral damage that happens in this movie. Keep in mind, guys, during the time when Superman gets his suit and when Superman finds the Fortress of Solitude, because that's basically what it is. The giant ship is essentially this Fortress of Solitude. And in the New 52 comics, the Fortress of Solitude is actually a ship, and that's what it's based off of. But yeah, during the time that Superman gets the suit from the Fortress of Solitude, and during the time that he's actually Superman, it's only been a span of 2 days. This is a young Superman who still hasn't fully developed his powers yet. We still haven't seen his ice breath. We still haven't seen a bunch of other traits that would follow this Superman. You know, there's a lot of things that are being developed with this Superman, and had Zack Snyder really expanded upon this with Man of Steel 2, instead of making a Batman versus Superman, I think we would have gotten not only a comic book accurate version of Superman, but we would have gotten a Superman that we would have potentially never seen before. Well, in all fairness aside, this is not the Superman that we're used to. This is a different Superman. This is a humanized Superman, raised by imperfect humans who make mistakes every single day, and naturally he's going to make mistakes. Keep in mind, he's still in his 20s and he could barely control his powers as is, but now he knows better. And this was a great stepping stone for his character. Now, Superman does save people. Even though with the collateral damage that's happening all around you with all the destruction, people still can't see Superman's been saving people since he was a kid. He saved an entire school bus from drowning. He saved a whole rig full of people in the opening. Superman has saved people a bunch of times in the film. You know? And people go, oh, well, Superman hasn't saved enough people. Blah, 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 blah. No, he saved a bunch of people. I'm sure he saved a couple more. He saved Lois Lane, I don't know how many times. He saved Colonel Hardy. He saved a couple other people, I'm sure of it. He protected Metropolis as best as he could. But yeah, it just, I don't know. He saved a bunch of people. Maybe there's a couple more that I'm forgetting about, but Superman has saved people. So I don't want to hear the argument where Superman didn't save enough people. There's so much destruction, so much chaos, blah blah blah, blah. And Batman versus Superman expanded upon it. Henceforth, Superman is a murderer. Okay, fair enough. But Superman did save people. He generally cared for the people. Why do you think he told the people of Metropolis get inside? Because he knew things were about to get ugly. Now, granted, yes, Superman in the comics would have tried to drive the fight far away from humans as possible. You know, he would want it to be in a more secluded area. But even then, that doesn't mean that the villains would have complied. They would have potentially destroyed the entire city. And like I said, this is a young Superman. He's going to make mistakes. He doesn't know what he's always doing. Even the New 52 comics. The New 52 comics in the beginning expanded upon that. They even showed a sympathetic side of Superman that shows if he can truly save people or not. And he has doubt in his mind. This Superman also has some sort of doubt in his mind. But yes, this Superman does save people. So let's get to, lastly, the most controversial scene in the film. Oh my goodness. Wow. Where do I begin? Alright, so this film, this scene in this movie has been ripped apart by fans for many years since 2013. It's been ripped apart by it's been ripped apart by Nostalgia Critic. You know, it's been ripped apart by so many millions of others on the internet, and it's kind of ridiculous at this point. So during the ending where Superman fights General Zod, Superman, of course, he trying to save a bunch of people, snaps his neck. You know, Zod is lasering in. There's a whole family, you know, in a corner. They're literally being backed into a corner. They can't go anywhere. And Zod will not stop, you know. And the only way to stop him, of course, was to snap his neck. And there's a scene, and afterwards, you really see the emotion on Superman. You know, he lets out a huge cry. Not only for the fact that he actually killed somebody, but the fact that he is truly alone. He has nobody. You know, he has nobody left. There's nobody left of his people. There's nobody left but him. He truly is the last son of Krypton. That scene, you know, say what you want about it. That scene, even though I don't condone violence, I'm not a masochist. I'm not some bloodthirsty, hungry guy who's obsessed with gore and is like, yeah, kill the bad guy. No. You know, no. That scene really showed Superman's arc, you know, and how many mistakes he's made and where he should go from here. Keep in mind, there was nothing he could do. Lots of people have argued he could have flown him up in the air. He could have used his freeze breath. He could have done all these other different things. It's like, dude, Superman is still young. He doesn't know what he's doing. Yes, he could have flown him up in the air. He could have done a bunch of other things, but Superman did not know what he was going to do. And kryptonite hadn't been discovered yet. It's not like he could physically put on a kryptonite ring and punch out General Zod. There was literally nothing more that he could do to stop General Zod. General Zod would have gone on to ravage the entirety of the Earth. There was nothing that could be done. Heck, even in the comics, in the early comics, when General Zod was first introduced, Superman used kryptonite to actually kill General Zod because there was nothing more that he could do. You know, I've heard people complain. I've heard people make arguments. I've heard people say Superman could have done this or that. What more could he have done? I am not condoning murder. I do not condone violence. But when they're in a film like this where there's a superpowered being who's just as strong as Superman and then some, who knows more than Superman, who could either enslave the Earth or destroy the entire planet, what more could you do? And keep in mind, Superman has killed before. Heck, in the original Superman 2, when they took away General Zod's powers, what happened? He pretty much threw them in the depths of the Fortress of Solitude, which pretty much killed him. Yes, there is a deleted scene where the Snow Police come by and take away General Zod and all the others, but it's not part of the film. So, Superman technically killed a person. Christopher Reeve's Superman technically killed a person. Point being is, what more could this Superman have done? He's a young Superman. He hasn't fully realized his powers yet. He's not the confident Superman that we know him as today. He's still building his character. He's still building his powers. And not only that, he just revealed himself to the public. People know that there is a Superman. And naturally, he's going to be a figure of controversy. So, despite all of that, this film is still a very good superhero film. I retain my same opinion from when I saw it for the third time on Blu-ray. It's a great Superman film. It's very, very good. I would go as far as to say maybe top 5. However, as a superhero film in general, it's decent. There was a lot of stepping stones for not only for Zack Snyder and the DC Universe, but also for Warner Brothers to take this character. There's a lot of trials and errors that they did in this film that I think had they expanded upon that and corrected it and made a Man of Steel 2, I think it would have been a lot better. You know, but that being said, it is still worth a watch. It is an underrated comic book film. It's worth a watch. It's very underrated. The fact that more people, I guess, bash this film and more people love it is kind of weird. I don't know. You know, granted, yes, there are a couple things in this film that don't work. Like I said, Amy Adams. There's too much shaky cam. You know, there's of course Superman, who's being portrayed in a certain way, which I'm not even going to get into. But yeah, so there is that. But at the end of the day, I still really love this film. I still think this is a great Superman film in general. And if I were to give it a rating out of 10, I'd give it an 8.5. I really do like this film. I think it's very underrated. I think, if anything, guys, for those of you out there who have bashed this film in the past, for those of you out there who say, oh, Henry Cavill's not my Superman, check your heart really quick. Keep in mind that this is not the Superman we are all used to. This is a different interpretation. I cannot hammer this home over your heads. This is a different interpretation. Check your hearts. Check your hearts. Check it out on HBO Max. It's free. If you already have HBO, then you can get HBO Max for free. So, I encourage you guys to give this film one more watch. If it doesn't meet your standards, if it's still boring, or if it doesn't, do it for you, then by all means, throw it away. If it's not for you, it's not for you. But at the end of the day, all I can say is just one thing. Give it a chance. Just one more chance. And like I said, if it does it for you, cool. If it doesn't do it for you, alright, that's fair. But anyways, yeah. So, that's what I have to say. And yeah, I'm going to stick to it. But yeah, thank you guys so much for checking out my video. If you want to check out more, I'm going to have more videos coming soon. Next time, I do want to talk about, and even though it's not a Zack Snyder film, but I do want to talk about this one since we're on the topic of Superman. I do want to talk about Superman, Man of Tomorrow, the animated movie. And I really do want to talk about that one. So yeah, be on the lookout for that, guys. I don't know when I'll do it, but just be on the lookout, okay? Anyways, that was me. I'm your host, Bruce Lira, signing out. And as always, be awesome, have an awesome day, and never be afraid to be who you are, and never stop being a kid or being a geek. God bless you guys. Take care.